And we're going to talk about the hottest team in the NBA right now, a team that no one expected to be playing this good, especially at this point in the season. And we're going to be talking about the Portland Trailblazers. That's right. The Portland Trailblazers are the hottest team in the NBA. That's shocking, right?
It is.
It's crazy.
Chauncey's coaching it up.
They've won 10 of their last 12 games. 10 of their last 12. The Portland Trailblazers in 2025. Nuts. It's wild. So let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers, man. I mean, they have the 7th most wins versus teams over 500 this season. More than the New York Knicks, by the way. The contenders. Since January 19th, when they started this whole stretch of big games, they have the most wins in the NBA. They have the best record in the NBA. They're 13th in offensive rating at 115.2. They're first in defense. First in defense, the Portland Trailblazers, a team made of complete cones last season, which leads them in the 5th spot in the NBA in net rating at 9.9. Remember that number, 9.9 in net rating, positive 9.9. I did some digging. I looked at the stats before that. So from January 18th back to opening night, the Blazers were 27th in offense. They were 28th in defense. They were second bottom and 29th in net rating. Remember when I said 9.9 now? It was negative 9.1. They have completely flipped the switch. Yeah. Chauncey Billups finally figured out how to coach a basketball team, and it looks beautiful. Yeah. It's amazing. We saw this a few weeks ago. We talked about Scoot Henderson on my player spotlight. He's starting to hoop. Now the entire team's starting to follow suit. Because really it's only been Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons kind of carrying the load. But we're seeing contributions from all across the board. I mean, Donovan Clingan is 4th in the NBA in rim protection. And do you realize the presence he's in with that? Like you're looking at Wemby, you're looking at Jared Allen, you're looking at Giannis, like Mobley. You're looking at some of the best defenders in the league.
Impressive.
You got a rookie that just won back-to-back national championships, looking to kind of make a statement in the NBA because, you know, we didn't really know where he would get drafted. Some people had him going first. Some people had him going 12th. He wound up going somewhere in the middle of that. I don't remember where exactly. But I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from the Portland Trailblazers. Also, by the way, in this stretch of 12 games, they're doing this as one of the slowest teams in the NBA. They're 27th in pace. And before that, they were in like the 15th or 14th spot. So maybe speed does kill.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. You don't really see a lot of teams outside of Denver really cook with slow pace.
Wait, Denver's slow pace?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jokic slows the pace down a lot.
I would have thought Denver's. I don't know.
Teams like let me go look at the pace leaders right now because it's hard to like explain.
Yeah, that would be a cool stat to see. What about the Pacers? Would they be like a fast paced or slow?
I'm looking right now. So as far as pace goes in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies are leading the league in pace, followed by the Atlanta Hawks, the Chicago Bulls, the Wizards. The Nuggets are actually 5th.
Okay.
So
I thought so.
They've gotten a lot better. I think Russ kind of adds to that. I remember during the championship year, the Nuggets weren't that fast. They slowed the game down a lot.
So where does Portland rank on this list here?
So Portland in the past 12 games, they're 27th in pace.
In the past 12 games.
Yes.
So they've lowered their pace and they've had much success. Okay.
If we're looking at obviously if we're looking at the season as a whole, Portland is 19th.
Okay.
So, yeah, pace is a very interesting metric. It doesn't really mean much, but it also does tell a big story as to kind of how the offense is operating.
100%. And I think the fact that the pace is slowed down, that tells me a lot about what Chauncey's doing.
Yeah.
Right? So it looks like he finally had an idea. If something clicked where he sees like where his players have the most success.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, we got to slow the pace down. And that must have led to their, recent success. 10 wins in the past 12 games.
It's unheard of.
Yeah.
Like, even in the Dame days, they weren't even that good after the conference finals appearance. Like, they were just a team that's been drowning in purgatory.
Yeah.
But I think Chauncey's finally getting a glimpse of just his guys starting to develop and kind of find their footing. Like, we're seeing really good games out of Ayton.
Yeah.
A guy that's just, he's soft.
He's good.
He's a good player. He just needs that drive.
Yeah.
I said this in a short, like if DeAndre Ayton wanted it more than everybody else, he would be like the best big of all time.
I don't know about that.
It's an exaggeration.
Okay.
But like bro would conquer the entire sport if he just wanted it more because he's so talented.
He is.
He's 7 foot. He's a big body. He can shoot.
He can move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the Caribbeans, man. They're different. They're
They really
built
are.
different.
They really are.
And you look at the roster across the board. Like Donovan Klingen's got huge upside. We all know what Shaden Sharp can do. Scoot Henderson finally looks somewhat like an NBA player
Like
again.
a second overall pick.
Yeah, like this team looks good, and I like the veteran presence they have alongside these guys, like Matisse Thybulle, Robert Williams. Like they're huge for these guys.
Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant is another one. Like Jeremy Grant is. I'm surprised he's still on the team, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are your thoughts, Antoine? I know
well-
I know you love these stinky teams.
Oh, I mean, another team that has immense depth. Matisse hasn't played a lot this year, actually.
He's been hurt.
Yeah.
But like I said, veteran presence. He's good
Yeah.
to kind of like mentor these guys.
Listen, we were talking about them moving on from like 3 or 4 guys in the trade deadline because the value for them was pretty good. And I guess the GM for Trailblazers, whoever that is,
Joe Cronin.
Joe Cronin.
The man that bitched the Miami Heat.
And I guess they came to a probably more recent consensus
Yeah.
that, all right,
Something's
working.
working here. Yeah.
Something's cooking.
let's not break this up.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree because this core on paper is a pretty interesting core. You have a lot of young guys, of course, mixed in with Rob Will, Ayton, Jeremy Grant, Denny Avdia as well.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
forget about him. And they're just clicking. You have some guys on the bench that also could prove it more valuable to some certain teams. Like we were talking about Duop Reith, he's still there.
Yep.
Other guys too. I got an itchy nose. Oh my god. But listen, this is reminding me of like a younger, more developing team like Houston. Like Houston's found their footing with their depth.
Okay.
And Portland is the same, but they still have a mountain to climb. I.e., they need a star or two. And if Anthony Simons or Shaden Sharp or Scoot Henderson or Klingen can fill those, because we know Grant and Ayton are like your prominent role players, or could be like really good anyway.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Denny Avdia could hop into that conversation. But any of those 5 names, if they take the next step, whether it's the rest of this year, including next year, Shaden Sharp's finally healthy. We've been waiting for that for a long time. Then I think they'll be on their way up. I think the young guys they have so much potential, and not breaking them up, I think shows their trust from the front office and also from Chauncey.
Absolutely. I was
I
going to
think
say
that's
Chauncey.
a big thing.
Yeah.
Chauncey definitely played a big role in keeping this group together for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. So
I think I think also maybe Portland's kind of looking at the draft and thinking like, I think they're still going to try and tank because they're still 13th in the West. Like they're not making the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
They could get into the play-in if they keep playing like this. But like, if you're thinking about it, like who outside of Cooper Flagg is realistically going to slot in? I guess if you get one of the point guards, like if you get one of the guards, if you get Dylan Harper, if you get VJ Edgecombe, that could be huge. But like, I don't know what Portland's mindset is right now. I don't really know because this is hurting their lottery odds. They're climbing up the standings right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they care about that right now.
I don't think
Chauncey
so.
wants to keep his job.
I think their core is perfect the way it is because you have young guys that still have yet to blossom into their peak.
It's still not good enough though. Like I still think someone like VJ Edgecombe has higher upside than everyone on that roster. Like he's going to be nuts. And obviously we know Cooper Flagg and his Cooper Flagg is the best player in this draft class. You're looking at Ace Bailey, you're looking at Dylan Harper. Like these are the main 4 guys in the class that we know are going to come NBA ready, and they're going to slot into any starting spot on any team most likely.
I would say the one positive for this, if they're going on this trajectory for the rest of the season and maintain like a close to 500 standing or a little lesser, of a percentage, their assets could be easily traded in the offseason because, Klingen's their franchise center. They can move up Ayton anytime they want.
Right.
Jeremy Grant, same conversation
Rob Will.
there. Rob Will. And you could easily replenish picks and still have a high draft pick depending on how the lottery works.
Right. Let me check their odds right
so
now.
on and so forth. So, I don't know. It's interesting.
They currently have the 9th best odds right now. So it's not really like, and they do have they have the 11th hardest remaining strength of schedule. So
we don't expect this to continue.
this is a top 7 team against 500 teams. Like
True.
Like if you look at the teams they've beaten throughout like the past 12 games, you know, they obviously beat Chicago, Miami, Orlando. They only lost to OKC by 10. They beat Milwaukee. They beat Phoenix twice. They beat Indiana, and they beat Sacramento. A Sacramento team that's been really good as of late.
Right.
So
I'm not holding Phoenix into a high account right now.
I mean, you'd expect the team with Kevin Durant on the roster to beat the Portland Trailblazers. No,
Yeah. But was he not playing or was he playing?
I don't think he played in the second game.
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
was
not
gonna
too
say.
sure. But because they played at the beginning of the month.
Okay.
But they have a back-to-back against Denver, so we'll see what happens with that. And then they still have to play the Lakers. You got to play the Celtics and the Cavs still. So we shall see. It's a very interesting schedule they have left.